But we're doing a tier list on the Warframes, the different Warframes. We might end up doing some weapons and stuff too, maybe in the future. That would be kind of fun too. Different stuff, different types of missions.
But we're going to, we're going to go through this alphabetical.
Yeah, because that's how the Warframes are listed on here is alphabetical.
And this might take a while, I don't know, because we're going to talk about every mission. We're going to talk about how they pair up in like the Eidolons and the Prophet Taker.
Starting Warframes, things like that.
Yes. Now there's only 3 starting Warframes on the from the beginning, but which is
well, I guess what I was saying is in terms of how easy it would be for a new user to play with that.
Okay. Now the first one, Ash.
Ash, an older Warframe.
Yes.
Do you have?
And he does have a prime, but for the sake of just doing base all the way through, we're just going to do base Warframes.
Yeah.
Okay, how's everybody doing today? I don't know why I say that every single time, like they can answer me back.
Well, they should be answering you back.
Like there's a group of people going, hey, I'm doing good.
You don't know how people respond to these videos.
But today we're doing a tier list.
Yeah, I know the tier list has been getting kind of popular.
Or people like it, and I can understand why. It's like a ranking system. It's kind of cool just to go through. Fun. So, I mean, you could join along with us. You can bring up your own tier list. This is on tiermaker.com. And you can go to the Warframe page.
Yeah, originally we were going to do just games, but then we decided to do a specific game, and it's a game that we've both been playing for a long time.
This is one of our favorite games we've ever played.
Yes.
Recommended
to anybody out there.
Go play Warframe.
It's free to play. You don't have to pay anything.
For skins, for skins, you do have to.
No, unless you use the trading system. Now that takes longer.
It does take longer. But technically, do you have to buy anything in the game? No, you don't.
No, technically you don't have to buy a single thing. You can get anything you want through trading and things like that.
Skins, you probably will in the beginning if you decide to get skins.
Yeah.
But you can go into the relic system, get new items, trade them on the market. People use their platinum, which is currency that people do have to buy.
Yeah. But
the game has been out so long that you yourself, everybody has so much currency now that you wouldn't have to.
No.
It does take a while. Granted, it does take a while.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
But excellent game, fun. If you like, I mean, it can be kind of grindy, but I mean, that's
it's meant to be.
It's the type of game it is.
It's an MMO.
Yeah. It's a shooter. A mix of shooter and melee weapons.
Yes, and the community is generally pretty good unless you get on the region chat.
Most of the time.
Unless you get on the region chat.
And it also depends on when you get on the region chat.
Yes. They're pretty good about it though. Anyway, let's get into the.
But we're doing a tier list on the Warframes, the different Warframes. We might end up doing some weapons and stuff too, maybe in the future. That would be kind of fun too. Different stuff, different types of missions.
But we're going to, we're going to go through this alphabetical.
Yeah, because that's how the Warframes are listed on here is alphabetical.
And this might take a while, I don't know, because we're going to talk about every mission. We're going to talk about how they pair up in like the Eidolons and the Prophet Taker.
Starting Warframes, things like that.
Yes. Now there's only 3 starting Warframes on the from the beginning, but which is
well, I guess what I was saying is in terms of how easy it would be for a new user to play with that.
Okay. Now the first one, Ash.
Ash, an older Warframe.
Yes.
Do you have?
And he does have a prime, but for the sake of just doing base all the way through, we're just going to do base Warframes.
Yeah.
Because that's what most people are going to get.
Basically, just when you do the prime Warframes, it's just like a level above the base Warframes. It's just some of the stats are a little bit higher, things like that.
And I don't mean to take business away from Digital Extremes, but for the Prime Warframes, you don't need to buy the Prime Access Pack and the accessories. If you want to get all the extra stuff with it.
Yeah, because you do get a lot of extra stuff with it.
You do get extra stuff, but I wouldn't recommend it because I have every Prime frame in the game just through trading.
Yeah.
Just by accumulating so much stuff and just getting on the trade chat and being patient.
Yep.
So I would recommend doing that, but if you want it faster, then I guess buy it.
Yeah.
Now, to discuss Ash, we keep rambling on about other stuff. To discuss Ash, he's a stealthy Warframe. That's what it says right here.
I used him for a while when I first got him.
See, I wasn't that good with him, but that's my playstyle, and that's the benefit about this game.
Yep.
Some Warframes benefit others depending on how they like to play the game.
Yep. Good health. Has good health. More of an attacking Warframe.
Armor's down a little bit, but you would expect that because it's a
stealthier type.
It's a stealthy Warframe.
Yeah. He has good abilities like teleport, let you get in close on enemies. The smoke screen, which I didn't use as much. Now the cool thing about Warframe is they have different mods, and you can mod certain Warframes for certain abilities to work better.
Okay, so do we want to look at the? Let's go through each ability.
Yeah.
You got the base ability.
Shuriken.
The one ability.
Yeah.
The Shuriken. Basically, all the one attacks are basically like singular attacks.
Most of the time, yeah.
That I don't ever use them very often unless they're situational.
Yeah.
Usually for captures and things like that. I usually, like with Frost, I use the freeze ability.
Yeah.
But for the turns of Ash, I really never use Shuriken too much. That's just because I don't play with Ash very much. I have before. Again, I have every prime frame, and Ash has a prime.
Yeah.
But that's his one. Deals high damage and impales enemies to walls.
Now that's a useful ability though, to be able to impale the enemies, because you can hold certain enemies there if you need to.
Well, I think it only does it if you kill them.
Does it?
I've never done the ability where it doesn't do it unless you kill them.
You're right.
But so and all the ones are not high value, I would say. Not very. Anyway, let's go to the smoke screen. This is useful for crowd control,
yes,
I would say.
Yes, for like survival type missions.
It throws a smoke screen down, kind of like a ninja would.
Yeah.
It obscures enemies' vision, and it's the benefit about this is it stuns enemies. So if you get in a high crowd control situation,
yeah,
where you want to kind of stun the enemies and be able to get out of a situation, kind of like Loki would, where they go invisible and things like that, you would want to do this to, like you said, high survivability.
It would be good for survival missions. It would be good for mobile defense missions, defense missions.
I would say defense. Ash isn't a good defense Warframe.
Well, no, but this ability, if you get surrounded.
Okay, I see what you mean. Kind of like Excalibur's Howl.
Yeah. Just in terms of, this isn't a great Warframe for defense missions.
Okay, okay.
In terms of if you're in a defense mission, this ability would be good in that situation. The teleport, I used it a lot because it brings you in close to enemies and then lets you melee them.
Well, I would see a singular boss, like just bosses on planets.
Yeah.
This would be good for like I wouldn't say every boss, because the raptor on I can't remember what planet it is. It's one of the higher level planets. The flying raptor.
Yeah.
The big machine that you have to. It wouldn't be good for this, I wouldn't think.
No.
But for things like the older Nef Onyu, I think it's called the Sergeant now.
Yep.
Back in the day, we played it when it was Nef Onyu.
Yeah.
But the Sergeant, and just enemies in general.
And it's also good for things that tend to move around a lot.
Yes. What's that? Vahek. This definitely wouldn't be good on that.
No, well, he's the most
I hate Vahek.
He's the most annoying boss in the game.
Blade Storm is really good crowd control. Now this ability is unbelievable.
Plus it's really cool. I mean, it just looks cool when you do it.
Basically, this is like a Ninja Warframe. If you get I don't know if it's a Tenijin skin. Where he has the Ryu Hayabusa.
I think you're right. I think it is one of the Tenijins. And what the Tenijins are, if you don't play Warframe, is those are player submitted skins that get put into the game. Now
Blade Storm, it's just that he goes on a rampage,
tags a bunch of enemies.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think it was revamped to where it's not as OP as it was before.
It's not as powerful as it used to be. No, it's not.
Because before, I think it was auto. It was like an auto lock.
It was an auto lock where he would just go to just all over the place.
I think on this one you have to pick enemies as you go.
Kind of. Or I think you can. I think if you hold, it's something to do with. I think you are right. I think it is as you go now. I think that's what they changed it to.
Now, those are the abilities, and that's kind of just the base rundown of Ash. For the different missions. Is he good on Exterminate? Unbelievable on Exterminate.
I was going to say Exterminate is really good for him.
I would say he's a selfish Warframe.
He's more of an attacker, yeah.
He's a Warframe where you just want somebody to go through and just a straight attack.
Things, yeah.
He's not like a team. A lot of these Warframes depend. He's not really, I would see, as a team Warframe, in that his abilities help out the entire team. Blade Storm and Smokescreen I can see.
Yeah.
But overall, like giving damage procs and things like that, being able to do extra, like there's radiation, things like that.
Yeah, things like that.
Can't put things like that on enemies.
The only thing, I mean, the only way you'd be able to do it with him is through weapons, things like that.
So, is Ash good? Yeah, Ash is unbelievable. I would put him...
I'd put him mid-tier if it was up to me.
I'd put him at an A.
Would you put him at that high?
Yeah. Just because of how I've seen people use him.
In terms of him probably being easier for newer players, I'd put him in an A.
But, you know, this is where it gets tough. Newer... The Eidolon, he's definitely not good with.
No, he's not.
There's only certain Warframes good at that anyway. But
yeah.
So I don't know if we can how well we can.
I would personally probably put him B, if you're going to talk about him being useful for newer players, because he's not his abilities aren't super.
I know there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with us, and this is why it's our own tier list.
Yeah.
You got defense. I wouldn't say he's great at defense. He's great at exterminate. He would be good at interception just because of crowd control situations. And there's going to be a lot of energy drops. You can take out a bunch of enemies at once.
True.
And he can take out enemies in that zone and hold down that zone for that particular station.
Yeah.
So interception, I could see him being good with. Defense, he's not a team working Warframe in defense, but he can go around and take out a bunch of enemies.
Yeah.
I would put him at a B too.
I think B, because he's about mid-tier. He's not terrible, but he's not amazing. He's not one of the top Warframes.
So we have Ash at a B.
Ash at a B.
Now let's go to... I hate saying that because I don't use Ash a ton, and I don't feel like I'm doing him justice.
See, I used him more than you do, and I would put him at a B. Because he's not a Warframe that you could use in almost any situation. It's specific missions.
He's a high attacking. Can you use him in any situation?
And especially since they've kind of lowered the power down a little bit, especially for the Blade Storm stuff like that. That's part of me making him lower than an A.
Yep. So let's go on to Atlas,
which I've never used. I've never used the Atlas before.
That was weird. Somebody was outside of our door.
Creepy. Have you ever used the Atlas before? Now, I've played with people that use the Atlas.
I've played with people that use the Atlas. The only reason why I never tried to get him is because I heard he sucks.
I knew in this last update that they just did, they kind of reworked him just a tiny bit and added in some skins and stuff for him. Now, in terms of across the board, his stats are all really good. I mean, his armor stat's ridiculous. 450.
Yeah, his armor, I mean, we look at his armor stat, he has really good survivability. Decent health, decent shield, decent energy. So he's an all-around good Warframe in base stats.
In base stats, he's an all-around good Warframe.
Now the abilities, I never saw the abilities being useful, really. That's why I don't like Atlas.
In specific situations, they would be useful, but I mean... And his
well, a lot of them are a lot of abilities for
are situational.
But in terms of all around use for multiple missions, I don't.
And the Rumblers, which is his last ability that he gets, where he summons some.
Yeah, don't really do anything.
Their AI is. They need to redo the AI. The AI is really bad.
They basically just rumble around.
They do. They basically just roll around, and you don't know. You're like half the time. You're like, what are they doing? It makes me laugh, but
we got landslide, bash enemies with an explosive sliding punch,
which is just a basic, attack ability.
Which all the ones are.
Yeah, the ones are usually that most of the time.
Is it a single enemy? It says bash. See, I've never used Atlas a ton because I've seen people use them, and it's.
One thing I'll add to this is everybody has different playstyles and everybody likes different Warframes. This is just our opinion.
Well, it says that, but I mean, I still think a general consensus is that Atlas isn't very good.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Now, is this like the Soul Punch that Necros has? The landslide?
I think it's similar to that, but it's just him just doing a
straight punch. It doesn't do as much damage, does it?
It's just him doing a straight punch.
I think the Soul Punch does a lot more damage, doesn't it, than landslide?
You see, it doesn't have the stats on here for, how much damage the abilities and stuff do.
Now the Tectonics, Summon a Rockwall, that's good for defense.
Yes.
Interception, not so much.
Yes.
But when you get a defense where especially mobile defense.
Yeah, where you have something kind of back in a corner or back against a wall. Yeah, that would be good.
And there's another mission. The defense mission, like on the arbitrations. Oh, I forgot to talk about Ash with arbitrations. Ash would be good on arbitrations. Those are missions where you need to do a lot of damage and defend an objective that moves around.
Yeah.
And have high survivability. You need high damage output in arbitrations.
Yeah. Either high damage output or just be able just to take tons of damage. It's one of those two.
Yes. So he would be good in this, I would think. But he can't do a lot of damage output. He would just be kind of there just to...
The thing about Atlas, and he might be decent in arbitrations because of his base stats, but I'm just not a big fan of his abilities. I'm really not. It's just not my kind of Warframe.
And he's not a team Warframe.
No, he doesn't give buffs.
Is he cool looking? He out-petrify, fossilizes enemies.
I was gonna say
that's good crowd control.
I was gonna say the only thing that it's really like team-based style is petrify. This would probably be.
But his
I wouldn't even consider him an attacking Warframe either.
No, he's just like a Warframe that's there.
He's basically just there to be like a what do they call those? Like a damage sponge is basically what he's there for.
Yeah, but with so many enemies attacking multiple people at the same time, is he really so what?
Sure, you're not wrong.
I mean, because you hardly ever find yourself in situations where you can hold off an objective and funnel people through. They're usually coming through all different directions.
True.
So, I still give... I don't think anybody's a D.
This is a Warframe designed for very, very specific instances. For example, like you were saying, within like a tight window, like a tight corridor, his rock wall would be a really good ability to have.
I'd give him like a C.
He probably would be one of the lower tiers for me, yeah. I'd put him at a C.
I don't think any Warframe is really a D on this list. Especially with all the reworks they've done. Oh, man. And did they just do an Atlas rework?
Kind of, but it wasn't like in-depth like it has been with some of the other ones.
Kind of like with the Loki. Not the Loki. Limbo.
A little bit like that.
The Limbo really got reworked and is good now.
It was really, really bad when it first came out. Yeah.
Let's go on to the Banshee. Now I like the Banshee.
So we decided
C
for Atlas, right? Okay.
Going to the Banshee. Really cool Warframe. Use sonic attacks and acoustic. Well, yeah, there's the rundown of it, but she has very low armor. You basically want to run her. She's like a team Warframe.
Yes.
Which makes her really good. Warframe is a game where you want to work with others, specifically, unless you just go on missions where you just get such high damage output with a lot of Warframes. Like Excalibur is good at that, where you just want to run through and do things on your own. She's not, I would say, a Warframe where you want to run by yourself.
No, you need to be in a group.
100 health, 100 shield. She's a high energy Warframe.
Yes.
And that's why she's an ability casting team Warframe. Her sonic boom emits a shockwave that puts its targets in range with enough force to incapacitate or kill attackers. Basically, a good one.
It knocks them back, right?
Yes. Sonar, acoustic location, basically a tracker for enemies.
Plus, it exposes weak spots, which is really important.
Which is decent. Yes. Again, a team ability.
Yes.
Silence, good for spy missions.
Which this makes up. This one would also make up for like the low armor and stuff. Silence, because it messes the enemies up and makes them kind of wacky.
So she is a very good crowd control Warframe, which is really good for Warframe in general because there's so many enemies on the board anyway.
Yeah.
Soundquake, this combined with Nova is unbelievable.
It is. This one's really cool too when it happens.
Channels all of her acoustic energy into the environment. Basically, she sends. It's almost like an earthquake.
It's like an earthquake and you can up the range or up the damage with different mods and things like that, which is really cool.
Again, we talked about the reason why this is good with Nova, and we're going to get to Nova in a little bit later on. But Nova has an ability that takes down the defense and armor of enemies greatly, and basically doubles your damage.
Yeah.
So, violently shakes the ground, basically stuns enemies, hurts them, gets rid of their hurts their armor. Banshee's just an all-around great team Warframe.
Yeah.
I personally, since the missions to get relics in and to get high valued items, especially in relic missions, exterminate. I don't really see her being able to be run and exterminate by people.
No, she would be more of like a defense or mobile defense type frame.
Can you run her in that? Yes, but not as effective as. But
yeah.
But exterminate's just like a singular. People don't run that as often.
Kill things anyway. So.
Defense, she's great at.
Yes.
Interception, it's kind of hard to use her in interception sometimes because they're so spread out.
Yeah, because you have different spots.
But you can use her. You can use her in interception. Some interceptions are, like of some corpus, are designed for specific locations.
True.
So you can use her in that. Not as effective as some other, but she is good in that.
Yes.
Defense, we said interception, exterminate, capture. I mean, capture, just anybody could do capture. Captures aren't hard. Her abilities don't really suit her for that, but I mean, captures aren't hard to begin with. Those are basically weapons based. Arbitrations, I've seen people use Banshee in arbitrations. The only problem is the defense objective is moving.
It does move, which makes it a little bit harder.
If you up the range on her Quake,
it would still be useful. Yeah,
it's useful, yes. But people have to protect a Banshee while at the same time protecting the defense
so that's
objective.
Kind of a
she would have to. Sword. You would have to be. Some Warframes you don't have to be on the mic. She's in those she probably have to be on the mic.
Yeah, if you use Banshee in arbitration, you probably need to have some kind of communication.
You know, I need help here.
Yes.
Not good with Eidolons, but most Warframes are.
Most Warframes are. Those are specific Warframes.
Prophet Taker. Now you play Prophet Taker. Would she be good there?
The thing with Prophet Taker is it's a bullet sponge, so you could probably use any Warframe.
So it's just weapons.
Now, I would say her probably not as much because she has lower armor and doesn't take damage as well.
So you need high survivability.
So you need like Rhino. Well, we'll get into the Rhino later, but you need the high survivability Warframes for the Prophet.
But she is good for end game.
Yes. You can use her throughout the entire game.
I would say for the missions that put out the most reward, relic missions and things like that, events, I would put Banshee at an A.
That's exactly where I put it. That's where I put her.
Now, do we want to go on to? Well, yeah, obviously we do. Baruch.
Now this is one I haven't used.
I've seen other people use him.
I don't even know if I've ever seen. I've only probably ever seen him once or twice.
He was a cool Warframe when he came out. He's like an African-based Warframe. His ability.
He is cool looking. I love the way
he's really cool looking. His health is kind of a little subpar, just barely. Shield, normal. Armor, great. Energy, unbelievable. But his abilities, for a high-energy Warframe, his abilities, I think, need to be reworked a little bit.
Yeah.
Elude. Dodge all incoming projectiles, but only while not attacking. So, I mean, I feel like if they change that to while attacking, that would be unreal.
That might be the best ability in the game if they change that to while
I wish they would change it to
he was considered the...
It would be like a Loki ability.
Yeah.
And I guess it is like a Loki ability, where you move through to an objective, like if you need to get to rescue. You could, but he can't do anything. He just moves through. At least with the Loki can do melee attacks.
True, as he's moving through.
He just, well, screw it, guys. I really don't want to play here right now. Let me just elude.
Well, he was kind of considered the pacifist Warframe when he first came out, so his ability does make sense.
And with so many Warframes coming out, they have to come up with different ideas.
Yeah, they have to, yeah.
So there's always reworks for different Warframes in the future. I don't know how far this will be, but lull. A calming wave slows enemies until they fall into a slumber. Enemies welcomed by damage will be confused and disoriented. Short-term amnesia means all waking enemies forget anything that happened before the lull.
Which is a really cool ability if you think
so. Again, this is another crowd control, is it not?
Yes.
Basically, you put enemies to sleep. I don't know how large the range is on this. Would this be like an Excalibur Roar or an Ash like an Ash smoke screen?
It would be more like a smoke screen, probably. I would expect.
Desolate Hands summon a bevy of orbiting daggers to seek out enemy guns, destroying them with a small explosion. So okay, so this is like Loki's like
it's his last ability. I can't
where he pacifies enemies
we'll see it later
to get rid of their weapons.
Now, something cool with this is if you combine it with elude, it doubles the range.
So, okay, so that is a team.
It does work well together.
That's a team. Okay, so like the pacifist again, that's like a pacifist.
Yeah.
But so he's like a team building Warframe, but he can't put out a lot of damage.
He doesn't put out a lot of damage. He doesn't have. He didn't really have any.
Now, Serene Storm is a really cool idea. With his restraint eroded, so it's like an attacking ability. He's like a monk. Baruch commands the desert wind to deliver powerful radial strikes with his fists and feet. Each moment commanding the storm restores his restraint.
So he's a lot like a monk, is basically kind of what he is.
Do you know how much damage that puts out?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it puts out a lot.
It doesn't have any of the damage stuff on here, which I wish it did.
He's really weird to use. It's
yet again, he's another Warframe that you're not going to run a lot of solo stuff with. You're going to be with other people.
No, and even team Warframes, there are a lot of other Warframes that are team Warframes that people would use over him in situations.
I agree.
He's like a novelty-based Warframe right now.
Yeah.
And I wish... I feel like he's going to have a rework.
Now his will probably be a while down the road because he is a little bit newer.
The newer Warframes don't have a rework until like a year down the road.
Yeah.
Is he cool? Yes. But he's very hard to use.
I love the way he looks. The design is really good.
His 1 mixed with his 3, elude with this hands, I feel like would be cool, but hard. I don't know. I put him at a C.
Yeah, probably mid. Yeah, a little bit below mid tier in terms of right now.
Now, you want to the Chroma, one of my favorite Warframes, just in terms of how cool it looks.
Yeah, you like using the Chroma.
Really good on Eidolon hunts.
Yes.
We probably need to go in depth with that a little bit more. Yes, he is situational, but the situational, he's so unbelievable at what he does. He puts out so much damage, which is a key for Warframe. It's like a meta for Warframe, being able to put out a ton of damage.
Yes.
In various situations.
Yeah.
I feel like Chroma does a really good job at that. Master of the Deadly Elements. Now, one thing that's cool about him is when you change the ability energy, he gets different abilities for that.
Yeah, and different like
if you get it green, it's like corrosive,
yes,
like radiation type damage. I know those are. Is green viral? Blue might be magnets. I can't remember. But basically, when you change, red is obviously fire, blue is ice. When you change it to a color,
it changes
the damage, the different damage outputs.
Yes.
The ability changes itself. Decent health, decent shield, so base health, base shield. Yep. Unbelievable armor, which there's a reason for that. In energy. A little bit above average energy.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
So yet again, another Warframe that's solid.
A little above average.
Yeah, solid across the board.
Spectral Scream. Seal deep breath of elemental destruction, Chroma's energy.
So it's it's the first, damage-based ability that you get.
If you put, it depends on how you build this ability. You wouldn't build this Warframe for this ability.
No.
But I have run this ability a lot where I go through and, of course, anything's good with the Nova. But when I go through and just use this when enemies' defenses are down, and I have high energy, and just as fun, I'll put a red for fire or blue for ice. Doesn't really work well. Green does. Green does work well where you go through shields for radiation and viral damage, where you can go through shields, and I'll just go through just spreading, just doing my one all over the field. Elemental Ward depends on Chroma's element that he picks, of course. Area of effect is created. Chroma and its nearby allies are imbued with defensive energy. So this is a good survivability. It ups people's defense.
See, I've never run the Chroma before. That's mainly why I'm letting you talk the most, because you're the one who used it.
See, I don't use it as effective as other people have. I'm trying to speak to Eidolon hunts because I don't use the Chroma as often. I do have the Chroma Prime, but from when I used him, the Vex Armor is the most useful for dealing out tons of damage. When shields are hit, Chroma's armor grows stronger, and when health takes a hit, weapon damage increases. So basically, this ability makes Chroma unbelievable. Because what you can do is do self-damage. There's a weapon out there called the glaive where you can throw it down and it explodes, it hurts you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go a little bit faster now.
Definitely a little
because that was 30 minutes for 5 Warframes, and this would be, what, 3 hours long?
Yeah.
So we would have to go charge the battery again, so we're not... Vex Armor makes this Warframe unbelievable because of the damage output that he can do.
Yeah.
Effigy really isn't as useful as I'd want it to be, but Vex Armor is good for increasing crit... Not really crit damage, but high damage output for himself. So, in Eidolon hunts, that makes him unbelievable.
If you look at every ability he has, he's there to give buffs and debuffs.
Basically for himself.
Himself and, well, some to your team, but yeah, himself.
Very high damage output Warframe. I'd put him in a B. I want to put him in an A. But I feel like in terms of every single mission...
Yeah, he's good for specific stuff. A B would probably be good for the Chroma.
Now, go to the Ember. Some people absolutely hate this Warframe.
Some people absolutely hate it. Now see...
Others love it.
I run the Ember for a long time. I love this Warframe. I love the abilities and the way they work together.
All around good base stats. The abilities...
It's probably a little... It probably is easier for newer players to use this Warframe. The abilities aren't super complex.
Well, her Fireball isn't useful really at all.
No,
you would never use that.
No, that one you won't use that much.
Accelerant. Stun nearby enemies with strong accelerant, increases all fire damage dealt.
Which could be, you know, it's a decent ability. Now,
so I guess that would be good for World of Fire.
The last two I like a lot. The last two abilities.
Fire Blast, is that like a quake of fire?
It's like a quake of fire that shoots out, knocks down enemies, lights them on fire, and does like actual damage to them.
World on Fire is good for defense missions if you can mod that for that.
Especially if you get the special mod for it. Because if you get the special mod for World on Fire, it has 100% damage to knock enemies down. So you knock them to the ground and they can't move for, you know,
so really good crowd control there.
Now,
here's what I do with Ember, and tell me if I'm wrong. I do 3 and 4 almost all the time.
Yeah, those.
The 1 and 2 you normally never use
no.
Because you have to use your World on Fire.
Yes,
you have
and
to.
it constantly drains your energy.
And you basically want to use it through the entire.
You want to try and you want to try and use it.
Which I don't mind. This combined with a Nova is unbelievable, especially on defense missions.
Yeah.
But it basically makes it where nobody can kill anything else because it's.
Now I will say you're gonna need the extra mods that go with the ability mods.
You basically have to mod it for World on Fire.
You have to mod it for World on Fire. So while I like it a lot, it's not the best Warframe necessarily. It's a good starter Warframe.
How good is she for end game?
In game, probably not as much. This would be a good starter Warframe. Because the damage output isn't that great.
Would you put her in a B or a C?
I'd put her at a C. I really like her, but I can understand why people don't. I would put her at a C if it was me.
Because I feel like she's usable. She's like at a higher C than...
Yeah, she's like in between B and C. You can't really have that, but...
Than Atlas and Baruch.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would still put her at the C, but it would be like a C+, you know.
And again, I'm putting these in order.
And that's a Warframe I really like, but I'll be honest about this stuff.
I would say a really high C.
A really high C is where I would put her at.
Now, Equinox next.
This...
is one of the best team Warframes.
When we first tried to get this one, I wanted it so bad. We played for so long.
And the Prime just came out.
Trying to get these pieces.
You know, talking about this game, I want to go back and play it now.
Yeah, we need to get back on.
The Equinox is a really good team energy-based Warframe.
And you switch between
good base
two different forms. Yeah, good base stats. You switch between night and day. You can switch between either form. Really cool looking, cool design.
Metamorphosis. Switch forms temporarily, gaining bonus shields and armor in night form or bonus damage and speed in day form. Depends on what you pick.
Yeah, it depends on how you want to play.
So that's what's so cool about it. You can pick depending on what you want, and you can mod it for that.
Yep.
Rest and Rage. In night form, targets are put to sleep, and day form targets become more vulnerable to damage. Depends on what Warframe. So again, really varies.
So the cool thing about this ability is that you use the night form to run solo if you want, put them to sleep, or if you're in a team.
But it depends on the mission.
And it depends on the mission too. You're not wrong.
If you're running with multiple people, like you said, you go in day form.
Yeah.
Put out high damage. Or you want to put them to sleep. Maybe you're running a defense mission. You want to put them to sleep. I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be usable for that.
Yep.
In night form, reduces damage inflicted by nearby enemies. In day form, increases power strength in nearby enemies.
Allies.
Sorry, nearby allies. So basically, day form is used for team-based stuff.
Yes.
Night form is used for yourself.
And that's what makes this Warframe so good in any situation.
Of course, I mean, it also depends. You go to Mend and Main, in night form, allies are healed.
Yeah.
So that's good for team. Well, obviously, you want to run that in a team. You're not going to use it. With each nearby enemy killed, so that's unbelievable. That's kind of like Necros' ability, where his passive ability, where he gains health.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Forest Warframe. But, what is it?
Ivara.
No.
No.
The one that looks like a goat.
You confused me. I don't know. Cora? Gara?
No. The male Warframe. The nature Warframe that looks like a goat deer. Anyway.
We'll come to it.
In day form, nearby enemies are bled and then subjected to a wave of slashing force.
Basically, the day Warframe is probably more designed for attack. And the night form
it depends.
You know, is more of a support Warframe.
Well, that can't be. We just talked about the night form being solo.
Well,
I mean, the ability
that
is
specific ability.
Okay, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought you were talking about overall.
No, just that. But like overall, in terms of the day form, would be like, you know, you strengthen your allies, you make them cause more damage, cause the enemies become more vulnerable to damage, and in the day form on the last ability, you cause them to bleed and things like that.
I don't think any Warframe is an S. That's good at unbelievable at everything. There's so much in the game now. I feel like everything is either an A or B or a C, because there's so much balance in the game now. I wouldn't put anything at an S. I wouldn't, because I don't think every Warframe is good at the Warframe itself is good in every situation. Like Excalibur, he's good at almost everything except for like Eidolons. You can't use Excalibur and Eidolons.
True, but that's also a specific mission. You can use them in anything else.
Yeah, when I say S, I'm talking about good in everything.
Yeah, but there's nothing like that.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean...
Well, what would you do? If we're going to do that, I'm putting Equinox at an S.
That's what I would put Equinox at an S, but if you don't want to put anything at an S, we can put it at the A. That's up to you.
In terms of being able to use this just as a pure support frame, you can't get better than this.
No, and that's why I would put it at an S.
I would put it in an S. The Equinox and the Prime just came out. I'm putting Equinox in an S.
I need to use it more. I don't use it as much as I should.
Well, I've used it before and it was unbelievable, just in the base form. Now, this is my favorite Warframe of all time, Excalibur. It was the Frost, but when I got Excalibur Umbra,
yeah,
and it was basically a free Prime.
Yeah.
Just by playing the story mission. A perfect balance of mobility and offense. I mean, it is what it is. Perfect balance. 100 health, 100 shield, 225 armor.
Yeah.
The armor's really high. 100 energy. Slash dash. Good for taking out singular enemies. Radio blind. Now again, the Umbra's different. Radio blind, I think, is the howl in the Umbra form.
Yeah.
Is it not?
I think so.
The radio javelin, I think, is pretty much the exact same.
I think it's the exact same.
I think the only one that's different is radio blind.
Yes.
Basically, the howl stuns enemies, kind of like the radio blind does.
Yeah.
And then the exalted blade is just, that's one of the best 4 abilities I've ever seen. You can summons a sword of pure light and immense power. Basically, and with the Umbra form, when you use it, you can mod that. If you get the mod in the store, you can mod it to where your ability energy makes this ability change. The element changes.
So it's kind of like the chroma.
I use purple, so like there's like radiation damage, and it does high damage output if you mod it right. So this Warframe is just unreal ability, crowd control, high damage output Warframe. If we're using S's, I'm putting this as an S.
I'll completely let you do that because I've never used the Excalibur ever.
You can use this. It is selfish, well, no, because the howl allows you to use it in defense missions. Very high survivability. See, I hate using S because I feel like I'm going to put almost every Warframe I've used it in S. Can't you really use them in Eidolons? But you don't really need to. Man, this one's hard for me.
Is he the perfect attacking Warframe?
Yes.
Put him in an S. If they're perfect at what they do, that's...
Okay, and there's only going to be certain Warframes that are perfect at what they do.
Yes.
I would put him, and maybe this will change when we go through here, I'm putting him at an S.
Okay.
And Frost, I'm already going to say, if we're talking about just in terms of perfect at what they do, Frost is a defensive Warframe.
I agree with you on that.
Perfect defense Warframe.
Matter of fact, I just started building the Frost Prime, so...
Freeze, really good in capture. You can freeze a capture enemy. One of the best ones you can use in terms of that, for that capture mission, you freeze the enemy, everybody can just like a gang beating on the enemy.
And in terms of a defense mission where the objective doesn't move, easily the most useful Warframe in the game. Easy. There's nothing to even
And if you
close.
use your snow globe around that enemy, it slows it down.
Yes, and that's one of my favorite abilities.
Ice Wave does heavy damage towards, good for crowd control and lower tiered missions.
Yeah.
But the Ice Wave can put it can slow down enemies when it hits them. Snow Globe, unbelievable. Best ability for defense.
Easily, yes, and it's not even close.
And Avalanche, great for crowd control. So basically this is a high defense Warframe. You want to put your Snow Globe down, use Ice Wave to slow enemies down, Avalanche, freeze enemies.
And the cool thing about the Snow Globe is you just let them come to you because they freeze as soon as they hit it.
Well, that's if you have the mod for it.
Okay, so there's a mod for that.
You have to get the mod for that.
Okay.
I think if his passive, if enemies hit you, freezes enemies, but Snow Globe, unbelievable. Perfect defensive Warframe, putting him at an S.
I agree with you on that. I was going to say that.
So we have attack, we have support, we have defense.
Yes.
I don't think there's much, the Loki, one of the best at stealth. The Gora. I've seen people use this Warframe a lot. I used to think she sucked, and now I've seen people use her more. She's just below the Frost, I think, in defense. Just below. Splinter Storm, her Shatter Lash Out Stream Shatter Glass. Based on single enemies, Splinter Storm grows armor splinters in a Maelstrom, slices enemies and impairs them. She has an ability where she puts out like a ring of glass.
Yes.
And it lowers enemies' defense greatly, and when it shatters, it breaks the enemies. Really great defense ability.
Yeah.
If you don't have the Frost, so it's like another Frost.
Okay.
I would put her at a B.
I agree with that.
Behind the Chroma. Well, I put her in front of the Chroma.
I agree with that. A B.
Garuda. I've never used this Warframe, and I don't see a lot of other people use it.
No.
I've seen YouTubers use it.
Yeah.
And the YouTubers that I've seen use it, she's unreal.
So she's...
I want to put her at an A because I've seen people use her based on the mods.
I have her. I don't use her a whole lot.
Really good armor, really high survivability.
I will say this. She is not for newer players.
No.
So if you're a newer player, do not get this Warframe.
You have to know. Well, and she can be found in... I didn't mention that with the Gora. The Gora can be found in the Plains of Eidolon.
Yeah.
So it's a later stage when you get further into the game.
Yeah, true. You're not wrong. Yeah.
Garuda is very hard to get.
Yeah.
And she's a Warframe that you get later in the game.
Yeah, because she has kind of complex abilities, things that you have to know what you're doing when you do them.
We were going so in depth with these earlier because there's so much in this game.
Yeah.
But I'm putting, based on what I've seen people use her as, I'd put Garuda at an A.
Would you? Okay. I'll agree with you on that.
I've seen people use her.
If you know what you're doing with her, she's really, really good.
But that goes with a lot of other Warframes, man. See, I don't know. I can't do that because I haven't used her.
B.
And that wouldn't be fair. I have to put her at a B. Just solely based on, I haven't used her, I'm just going based on what I've seen other people do.
Okay.
The Harrow. The Harrow is hard for me. High crit Warframe, I've only really seen him used in Eidolons.
Yeah, you don't see him used a whole lot else.
And there's other Warframes that can do what he does for high crit damage.
Better, yeah.
Now, he does make you invulnerable for a time for the Eidolon Scream. So that is useful for that, but in terms of other missions...
He's so specific in terms of what you use him for.
He is.
I would probably put him C.
I mean, his abilities, Condemn, cast a wave of energy that changes them to where they stand. Okay, sacrifice shields to boost reload. Fine. Turbo, channel Herald's energy in the turbo to generate a buff. Once finished, kills enemies so nearby allies with bursts of energy. The greater reward for each kills. Headshots. Covenant, protect nearby enemies with energy force that absorbs all damage, so you're invulnerable for a time.
Like I said, he's so specific at what he does, I would put him in a C.
Yes. I would put him in front of Atlas and Baruch and behind Ember. This one is brand new. I have no idea what to do with this Warframe.
Children, we can't really give him. We can't really give a ranking.
I don't know how to specifically speak to this guy. The best defense is a good defense. Hildren draws from her shields to fuel her abilities. No, I said he. Sorry, she. While energy recharges her shields. But she has no energy. So this is a very specific... I don't know how to use this Warframe. I feel like this would be the Anoros of energy. Based on the description. I don't know how to use her. Shield wall. Damages to shields. Does not affect health. No damage bypasses over shields. Basically. So that would be really good with... What's the Warframe that can boost Trinity? That really gives you over shields? No damage bypasses over shields.
Yeah.
So, damage shields does not affect health. Okay, that's really good. So, would that mean there's no serration? I don't know. Create a shield aura around allies. Enemies that approach shielded allies will take damage. That's really cool. Charge and launch devastating bolts of fire. I don't know about that. Take the skies and rain balefire rockets. That sounds really cool. On the enemy, nearby enemies are blasted into the air. Okay, really good crowd control there.
Yes, really good attacking Warframe. It does have a couple of support abilities, but...
Based on what I read, would you put her at a B?
I say let's put her at a B now, because we've never played with her
before.
It
sounds good, but I've never used her.
I've never used her, so I have to put her at a B.
Talk about the Hydroid next.
And you know,
I know we're running through this fast, but
you have to. I used the Hydroid for a while.
Now, all around good base stats, good armor. Is he decent? Yes. But is he great at what he does? I don't...
He's an average Warframe. You'll notice that a lot about me. I use some of the average. I'm more of a weapons guy.
Well, because that's what makes Warframe so fun. Yeah, it's fun to go through.
It's the ones I like. In terms of ability-wise...
Tempest Barrage, his one is really good to use.
It's pretty good, but I mean, the only one that I ever really used was Tentacle Swarm.
So you never used the Tempest Barrage?
A little bit. Now, if I ever got surrounded, the Undertow was decent because you create a puddle of water that pulls enemies down, and nothing can attack you or hurt you.
And the Tidal Surge is decent if you have good... If it's a large Tidal Surge.
Yes.
The Tentacle Swarm is good for range. Tempest Barrage. So he's a good crowd control Warframe.
So decent. He's just an all around.
I'd put him at a B.
Decent Warframe.
From his rework, I'd put him at a B. We have only Banshees at an A.
So far.
I feel like we're too critical and then overly giving for some of these Warframes.
Well, B's about mid-tier, so I mean, it's, you know.
The Inaros. This one's hard for me. I almost want to put him in an S.
The Inaros?
But I'm not...
Did you use the Inaros?
Yes.
See, I didn't.
Really high survivability.
True.
Really good. He has decent crowd control. The reason why we talk about crowd control so much in this is because there's so many enemies.
There's so many enemies on it.
If you can wipe out an area,
yes,
you survive.
It's a big deal.
So defense. So a lot of things with defense and arbitration, things like that.
Yeah.
Devour, hold power to trap. Desiccation. Sorry. Bless enemies with a wave of cursed sand that blinds them and steals their health. That's really good for him because he has no shields.
Yeah, he has no shields.
He just has all health.
Yeah.
Devour, hold power to trap target and quicksand, draw them in for devouring. Brings him his health back. Become a whirling spiral of sandstorm. Become a whirling spiral of sand that sends enemies flying and devours those trapped in quicksand. That's really good crowd control. Scarab Swarm. Charge to transform health into hardened scarab armor. Discharge to blast enemies with Scarab Swarm. Survivors have their health drained and bestowed on allies. So that's really good for his survivability and team usage.
Yes.
I think he's an unbelievably good survivability Warframe, and he's a good overall Warframe. Again, he has no... If you're a beginner, don't use him.
I'd put him in an A just mainly because of that. Well,
if you're a beginner, do not use him.
No.
That's me.
No, he's hard to use.
I'm putting him at an A.
That's where I would put him, just in terms of how hard he is to use.
We get on to Ivara.
Ivara's next, yeah.
I'm debating whether or not to put her or Loki at an S, because these are the two best stealth Warframes in the game. Ash is there too, but I feel like in terms of overall playability, and when I used her and I got good with her, I was better with her than the Loki, and she was just unbelievably powerful. And how you mod her, she's just unreal and unbelievably funny.
I will say, in terms of stealth attacking, she's not even close in terms of her and Loki. She's a lot better.
Quiver, you can cycle through her abilities, and Prowl, you can become invisible.
Yeah.
So you can become invisible and take out enemies like the Loki would, but she's with range. Loki's with melee.
Yes.
I feel like based on what the way Warframe is, the way I play, I would use her for, obviously, range.
More stuff.
I would use her for more stuff. You can cycle through her arrows. You can go dash wire. You can tripwire. I'm not a tripwire. You can run through on a wire. Navigator should control a projectile and get it to the target, which is really cool. I don't think you would use that this much because the Artemis bow and the Prowl and the Quiver. Summon a mighty bow and unleash a volley of devastating arrows, which when you have eye energy, and you mod this right, you can take down enemies unbelievably easy in sortie missions.
Okay. So if she's best at stealth, definitely put her in an S.
See, you use weapons more, I use Warframes more.
Yeah.
I think she's the best at stealth.
Okay. Then I wouldn't disagree with an S then, if she's the best at what she does.
Now the next one, I have no idea how to... It's like the Hildren for me. Korra. She's really good. I've seen her use.
Yeah.
She's kind of like a Frost and kind of like a Gara combined.
I've used Korra a little bit.
She has a little bit of damage output. A lot of people use her. A lot of people like her.
She's not easy to play with, though. I will say that.
But when you get good with her,
she's really good.
She's really good.
Yeah, when you learn how to use her.
Strangle Dome is like the Frost ability where you put up a dome and it traps enemies. Yeah. Instead of trapping them inside, it traps them outside.
Yes.
Venari summons a Kavat, almost said a Khajiit. Summons Kavat. It's another pet other than a Kubra. Kubra's a dog. Kavat's a cat.
Yeah.
It has different postures. How do you use that ability? I don't know. James.
I don't really know. I never really mastered her. I never used her enough to master her abilities. You basically just...
So she's a good crowd control Warframe.
You
with
switch
decent damage.
Yeah, you switch you switch it between running off on its own and attacking, and then or staying next to you.
So she's a good all around. So an A or a B, what would you put her at? An A.
In terms of having to learn how to use her abilities, I'd put her to B. Okay. But if you know how to do her abilities and you're good with her, she would definitely be an A.
So I'm going to put her in an A.
Okay. Yeah. In terms of ability usage, an A is probably where she should be.
I put her behind the Inoros. I put Banshee second behind the Inoros. Let's talk about the Limbo.
Which is one that when it first came out
was awful.
Widespread hate.
Like an F.
Yeah, nobody liked it. It would be like an F.
But after the rework,
he's not that bad. I will admit, He can be annoying when he does his slide because it sends you into the void and out of the void. So in terms of your teammates, it can get really annoying if you're playing with somebody that has one. But his abilities aren't bad.
He can banish enemies into the rift where they can't be hurt, stasis, freezes riftbound. Basically, he's an enemy. He has very high survivability if you use it. He's the trickiest Warframe to use in the game.
Oh yeah.
If you use him right, if you are perfect with him, he's an A.
Yeah.
But for new players, even for me that I've been playing with a long time, this guy, because I want to use bullet jump so much that it's like a dash.
Yeah.
I end up screwing other people up because I create a rift when I jump and other people go through it and then they can't attack anything.
Yeah. You want me to be honest? You want me to be honest where I'd put him?
I'd put him in a B.
I'd put him in a C. Even with
that
the rework.
Low?
Yeah.
See, I couldn't do that.
I would, and I used him.
I couldn't do that. I feel like the Cataclysm...
B is mid-tier. You can put him in a B.
For defense missions... He's so specific where you would use him. See,
it's hard to place him.
I don't want to disagree with you because he's so specific for where you could use him, but for where you do use him, he's really good, but he's very specific and.
Put him in a B. I think a B is probably right because
he's like the lowest B you can get.
He's like the lowest B you can get, but you are right. There are some especially after the rework, there's some factors in there that make him a decent Warframe. All right, we got Loki next.
No, Loki.
Definitely lower tier. He's
lower tier.
I think he is.
Oh.
I do.
See, that's the good thing about Warframe.
The only thing
it depends on how you play.
To me, the only thing that gives him any form of usefulness is the invisibility ability.
Yeah, but that's the point. He can go invisible and then go attack enemies and do extreme amounts of damage.
I know, but I don't know.
Based on the when he first came out, people put him at an S. Well, I felt was way too high. Again, that's how I play. His invisibility and radial disarm are really good.
Maybe it's because I don't know how to play with him. I don't know.
Now, when I used him back when the game came out, well, yeah, I can see why people put him at an S. Because basically he could go invisible and just go kill anything.
Yes.
Right now, I put him at an A because he can go invisible, go do any mission and kill anything with high damage. Kind of not really a selfish Warframe. I put him at an A. Now here's one I saw different people use that had rework, and she's really good now. Mag.
This is one of the first ones I ever heard.
She is a starter.
First ones.
Loki wasn't a Star Warframe. It was Excalibur Vault and Mag.
It was Mag, right?
In terms of sorting Warframes, that's another reason why
that's what I started with.
That's another reason why I put Excalibur at the top, because he is the best starting Warframe you can get, one of the best Warframes you can have.
Yeah.
Best attacking Warframe, I feel. Mag's abilities really good at putting magnetized procs.
I was gonna say Mag's abilities all work well together, but learning how to work them all together can be a little time consuming.
She's very good. She's very good when using with a team.
Yeah.
And the team can when she magnetizes things, it puts those. It gives an ability for people to damage things easier.
Yes.
I would put her at a B. She's really good in defense missions. Good for taking down defense and armor. I'd put her at a B.
She's probably mid-tier because there's parts of her that are really good, and then there's other parts like learning how to use all the abilities together that can be a little time consuming.
Now the Mesa.
Yep. That's one I was looking forward to a lot.
Did you? I used her last night. Remember when I ranked her up?
Yeah.
And I figured. Let me put it this way.
Really cool looking. The design's really good.
One of the best 4 abilities right next to Excalibur.
True, the 4 ability is really good.
Ballistic battery. When activated, this power stores damage caused by guns. When triggered again, this damage is channeled through the next gunshot. Really good for taking out one enemy.
Yes.
So it's a decent one. Shooting gallery gives an ally extra damage. She would be, like if you have a high damage Warframe, if you run her with the Nova and the Excalibur and like the Saren,
yeah,
you can run a defense mission and kill everything, I feel, if you work together right.
And of course the fourth ability, Peacemaker.
Shatter Shield, I've never used that. Envelops Mace in a barrier of energy reflecting back incoming bullet damage. And that's useful.
Yeah.
Good defensive. God, man. I almost want to put her at an S.
I don't know if I'd put her S. A.
Peacemaker with intense focus, Mesa draws her regular pistol shooting down. Basically, she slows down time, like she's doing a quick draw.
Yeah.
And just pulls out pistols and shoots in every direction, killing everything in her path.
See, she was never one of my favorites when I used her.
And if you mod this right, on sorties, you could take down everything in an area.
True.
So basically, if you put up a snow globe, and have her stand in it and shoot outside of it for one defense objective, or you just go around as a all-around attack Warframe, I'm putting her at an A. I would put, based on how I use her, I put her at the highest A. I think. Now the Mirage, the next one. This one was hard for me to use.
It's a super popular one. Really popular. I see a lot of people use it, but it wasn't one of my favorite ones that I used.
Her Hall of Mirrors is one of the best ones you can use.
Yeah.
Creates an entourage of doppelgangers to confuse and distract the enemy. I think it ups your damage for all the weapons, so for melee weapons.
Yeah, because there's multiple of you.
You multiple, and then just go through and just swing your weapon.
Yes.
Like with a Galatine.
Yes.
Or a heavy weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Sleight of hand, natural prankster, mirage, booby traps, nearby objects. I don't know how I never use that.
No.
Eclipsed, Indian Light, Mirage deals heavy damage while in the shadows. So she goes into the shadows. Prism, so it's like a stealth ability.
Yeah.
Fires an energy that shoots lasers in all directions.
Now, this one's really cool if you mod it right. It can do a lot of damage.
Yes. So people use her on like interception, defense. It's like a running theme with us. Defense is like a high.
Because it's a lot of people play it because it gets you
so much stuff in
the items and stuff that you need.
Interception is good. I mean, everybody can run exterminate. I'd put her at an A or a B.
I would personally put her at a B, but I know most people would have her. I know a lot of people that would put her at an S.
But this is our list.
I would put her at a B if it was me.
It's just how we use her. And I'm putting her just behind the Chroma. Yeah, no, in front of the Chroma.
Now, next is one of my favorite Warframes.
Right behind the Ash.
Next is one of my favorite Warframes of all time.
This might be, in terms of how the Warframe looks, might be the coolest Warframe in the game.
This is a really good Warframe for resources, too.
Oh,
yeah. Several abilities that get you extra resources when enemies are killed and things like that.
So where do we put him? I mean, okay, Desecrate allows you to get extra items from enemies, right?
Yeah.
He has a great passive ability where you get health back from killing enemies.
Yeah.
Terrify, good crowd control, cast fear, soul punch, a blow so powerful it turns the enemy's very soul to deadly projectile.
That was not super great.
It's funny.
It is funny.
You punch an enemy and their soul goes out of their body. It's kind of like Doctor Strange a little bit. Shadow of the Dead, summon shadows. Now this is unbelievable.
This is a cool ability.
It's like, basically...
You're creating a whole squad to fight for you.
Basically, he is the Night King that should have been the Night King. That's basically what he is. Because he raises the dead. Basically, Warframe did Game of Thrones better than Game of Thrones.
You don't get those Game of Thrones fans on you now.
So now we get 5 million dislikes.
You're going to have people come in and like start trying to stab you. And
the reason why I say that is because that episode was so bad. What they did with the Night King made me mad. It's just the lore of what they did. I don't know. I didn't like what they did. Anyway.
He's one of my favorites. This
he brings, what we're getting is he brings things back from the dead and allows them to fight.
Yes. And he gets you extra resources.
I don't want to be like favoritism here. Like what?
In terms of him only having the two main abilities that are
Put him in an A.
really good.
Well, he has high survivability.
I'd put him at an A. That's just me.
I put him at the lowest A. Now the Neja.
This is one you don't see a lot, but when you do, they're usually really good.
Well, I think this is a male Warframe. A lot of people get this confused with a female because it's the stance that it's in with the buns on the thing. It looks like hair buns, right?
Yeah.
It looks like hair buns. Yeah. It's a male Warframe, I'm pretty sure.
Like I said, you don't see this Warframe used a lot, but when they do use it, they're really good with it. So I guess it's kind of a specific Warframe. I used the Warframe a long time ago.
Let me put it this way: in certain defense missions, this Warframe is unbelievable because you can go through in a ring of fire, and put that all over the field, and when enemies run into it, they stop and get burned.
Yep.
And allows other people to go and kill them.
Yeah.
Which is Firewalker. Blazing Chakram, hurl a flaming ring that burns enemies and causes them to emit whatever. Burning Halo, creates a protective ring of fire. That's really useful for survivability for Neja. Divine Spears, good crowd control, sticks enemies, puts them in place, allows other enemies to kill them. See, this is hard for me. I already know what the next Warframe's going in. I just looked at it.
My top 3 hero Warframes of all time. The next one.
Where would you put this?
B.
Yeah, I would say a B. Again, if you're a B, it's a high usable Warframe.
Yeah, it's a good. You're good. I mean, you're.
Now, arguably the best Warframe in the game.
Love this Warframe. I love it. I love it's the Nidus.
The Nidus, yeah.
The parasitic Warframe. Now, it doesn't have any shields.
No, but it doesn't need them.
But the way it's designed, in terms of all the abilities working together, and it being a complete Warframe.
Okay, since we didn't put the Inaros at an S, this is like the S. This is like an S for the Inaros. I feel like because this is better used for overall team usage, and how you can mod this, and how it can bring health to not only itself, but other teammates.
I would put the Nidus at an S. I would.
Do you want to explain how to use the abilities? Because I've seen it used, and when I've seen it used, I don't even have to use the Warframe, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a you have like a thing on the bottom. And it's kind of like you build up the energy. It's like separate from your ability energy.
Is that the larva?
We'll use the virulence ability, the first one, and it shoots this like a parasitic
trail
along, and when it hits enemies, it builds up this I don't know what word to use for it, like a marker. I'll just call it a marker. It builds up the marker and builds up these the parasitic. It basically builds the parasite inside of you is what it's doing. Now the larva is really cool because you shoot it out, and it's a little parasitic thing that I'm going to use parasitic a lot because that's what this is about. A parasitic thing that floats, and it shoots these tendrils out, pulls all the enemies in your area. So basically, it pulls them in for you to use virulence on them because you can just keep hitting them and hitting them. Virulence stacks it. So that's a good word. Stacks.
With Nidus, you want to build up stacks.
You want to build up stacks. Yeah.
Because you use the stacks to give yourself health and do damage, right?
Now the cool thing about the parasitic link, and where I'm saying all this stuff works in together, is you shoot it into an enemy. So you can stand there and use your first 2 abilities, and an enemy will shoot you, but the damage goes into the enemy that you're linked with. It doesn't even hurt you.
Oh,
so you don't have to focus on anything around you, and you're just hitting stuff with virulence and stacking it up. And finally, Ravenous, the final one, creates like a parasitic, just all around growth around the playing field. Right. And that's what you use your stacks with, yeah. And I've played some matches where I've gotten like 80, 90 stacks. It's ridiculous if you do it enough, but it creates and what it does is it gives you enemies. It gives you health, it gives your teammates health, and it also hurts. There's these little creatures that hop around through them. They're actually kind of funny looking, but they attack the enemy. So you're upping your health, your allies' health, and damaging the enemy at the same time.
So, yes.
It's my favorite one to use.
I would put it in front of the Evora right behind the... Oh, man. I'd put it in front of the Excalibur. Sorry, man. I hate to say that. I feel like I'm going to get my throat cut late. Okay.
What? He's going to sneak into your room.
Now, the Nova... This one's hard for me. I want to put her at an S. because of what she can do. She's the best at what she can do. This is the Warframe that best takes down enemies' defenses.
Okay.
And makes everything killable. Everything. She has a wormhole, basically allows you to teleport to other areas, whatever.
That one's just kind of whatever, yeah.
But the molecular prime primes all enemies in a radius with volatile antimatter. Basically what this does, it creates a giant area, and you see these streaks going through the screen.
Yeah.
And everything that is hit by that gets slowed down for one a little bit, moves slower, and allows you to do double damage on those enemies. And when they get shot, they explode, kind of like it blows up the enemies.
Yep.
And the antimatter drop combined with that basically sends out bombs with things in the area that explode these things. And the null star creates particles that go around her, and I guess when it hits, it's like a shield around her.
Yeah.
In terms of taking down enemies' defenses, I'm putting her at a
and you can put
yes.
her. You can put her in any mission. That's what's good. You can run her in any mission you want to. As a matter of fact, for things like arbitration, where the enemies are upped, and if you die, you don't get to respawn or anything like that. This might be the best Warframe because it allows the damage that it allows you to do. It allows you to go longer than you normally would in the mission.
Now the Nyx, this one has dropped off for me because of the way the game has progressed.
Yeah.
And just what she's used for. Now she does have a useful ability in Chaos, where she creates mass hysteria, good crowd control.
Yeah.
Psychic Bolt's not really useful, I would feel. Nyx invades the psyche of a target, that's her one mind control. Confusing enemies make them fight for the Tennos cause. Is that just on one enemy?
I think so.
I can't remember.
Which one now?
I haven't used her in so long. Mind control. Invades the psyche of a target, confusing enemies and making them fight.
Yeah, mind control's one. The chaos affects everything.
And it causes them to like sit there and like go into like a hysteria.
Yeah.
Absorb, that's where she goes into a ball of energy and people shoot it.
See, I don't like that one.
No, because it's stationary.
Yes.
If she could move while she was doing it,
that would be cool. Now, I'll be honest with you. Like before in the past, I would have put her higher.
I put her to C.
I would put her to C now, in terms of how much I use her and how effective I think she is. I'll never use her again.
And it's because I have the Prime version.
Yeah.
Now the next one, the one that I couldn't remember the name of, Oberon.
Okay.
It's kind of like the healing, where you send out the healing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I still hate this Warframe. I do. I don't.
I've never really.
I don't know how to.
Never really used him that much, so I don't have a lot to say.
He's a pure healing Warframe, but there are other Warframes that, because of the Nidus.
Yeah.
I feel he becomes irrelevant.
You're not wrong.
His Reckoning, his 4 ability, picks up enemies and drops them. Well, oftentimes that doesn't kill him. So it's like awful crowd control. Renewal, healing waves of energy flow out from Oberon to heal allies. Okay, that's decent, but again, Nidus can do that. Hallowed Ground sanctifies the ground before Oberon with righteous fire, inflict damage to any enemy that stands in the flames.
So you have to be right in front of you, basically.
Yeah, it's like send up. Neja can do that with her. And
Neja can run around and create that.
Yes, and the Ember can run around and do that. Smite focuses daily energy within a target and then projects it outward, damaging both the target's surrounding enemy.
I would put him at a C, because you're right. There's Warframes that do every single thing better.
Put him at a D.
No, I was thinking that, but you said you didn't want to put anything at a D.
Because of his rework, he's not god-awful anymore, but you're going at the very end of the C.
God.
I know, that's just me being nice. I feel terrible doing that, because I like the way he looks, but he's just not... I don't know. Octavia, now this is a cool one. Octavia even has her own thing, her own stuff.
Yeah, where you create this, like the music that plays when you're doing the abilities.
To scan for.
Yeah.
She's a music Warframe.
Yeah.
Now you've used her a lot. You want to talk about her?
I don't really have a lot to say. I haven't used her a lot. I have her. I've ranked her up. I really don't know what to say. I haven't used her enough to say a lot about her. I don't know what to say. Her metronome ability is good. for buffing allies. It's one of the best buff abilities in the entire game. That one's really good. The mallet, you won't really use that very much.
Is it melee or mallet?
I don't know. I just always called it mallet because that's what it looks like to me. Well, you're like hammering down on something, so that's why I assumed it was mallet.
Oh, God. What an idiot. So I think that ability is good. I've seen people.
The metronome ability is really, really good. I like the metronome a lot.
The resonator, I don't see why. I mean, that just sounds funny.
It's just kind of a funny thing. It's just kind
of. You imagine seeing that go like in the defense mission, all the enemies turn around and go great, great, great. You remember they why do they say that? They go great, 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 and they just run through. Like, what are you saying? Like, what must I?
Oh my gosh! And then the amp is another kind of damage buff type thing. So yeah. She's good at buffing. She doesn't have a lot of attack. She only has just the mallet. That's the only attack ability she's got. So I mean, in terms of if you're playing in a squad and you want somebody that can buff your squad up really good, you can use Octavia.
She's a good support frame.
She is a good support frame.
One of the best. I'd put her at an A.
At an A? Okay.
Now this one, I don't know what to do with this one. You have it. It's 4. Is that where it spins around?
Yeah.
It's 4 is the funniest I've ever seen in the game. Because when you cast it, you spin and
spin really fast.
And you can move when you're doing it.
Yeah.
So when
it does look funny.
When you're in a defense mission, all of a sudden you see things dying, and you see a guy just spinning in circles just all over the map.
You're like, what is going on?
And it doesn't. He moves when he does it, but he doesn't change his posture.
No, he has like his legs are like up and his arms are like spread out. And
he spins on the same like movement throughout the entire level.
Yeah.
Area, the tile set.
The Reeve abilities I do like. You dash through the enemies and then you leech their shields and their health, which is really cool. It's a good way to, if you're low on health or shields, just to shoot through stuff real fast. Okay. Enthrall, you can get something to work for you. So it's kind of like the what was we were talking about? Was it the Nyx? And Mesmer Skin I never really used much, but the Reeve and the Dance Macabre are really good.
I mean, where would you put him at a B? Just because of how much damage output he can do?
He can do a lot of damage output. I would probably put him at a B, just based purely off that. Yeah.
Now, Rhino.
I have a lot to say about. Well, I'm not going to go like way in depth into Rhino, but
this guy is one of the earliest Warframes you can get.
I think he has the best survivability in the game, in my personal opinion, and I think you can use him for any mission type.
You can, but there's like a running meme about him that you just suck if you use him because he's so easy to use.
Then I suck.
But here's what I say about that. Yeah, okay, fine. He's good for. You remember when we got him as newer players?
Yes.
Because he's the Warframe you want to get first because you can get him on Venus for the boss.
Yeah, you can get him.
You want to get him first, and you want to use his Iron Skin, mod him out, and be able to go through and do tons of missions.
Yep.
Basically, people call you a noob when you use him because you're able to do everything with him, and everybody uses him. Now, here's what makes me mad. I hate when everybody uses Rhino for every mission.
True.
Like when everybody uses him.
True.
Because then you're screwed. Because then you need certain abilities to get through certain missions.
Yes.
So one person having him, fine. You need one person with high survivability to go through and be able to revive people, take damage, and do that, which is what he is best at.
Plus the Rhino Stomp is one of my favorite abilities.
Because we said high survivability is the best in the game, or because we said for certain things you can do, in terms of what he does, highest survivability Warframe, you want to put him in an S?
I would, but I'm somebody that runs with him all the time. What do you think?
We're going to be called noobs by doing this. Don't really care, because of our reasoning of what you can do with him. I understand for other mission types, his abilities and what you can do with him sucks.
He's not complex. He's not something that you're. But he's simple to use. All of his abilities are useful. You can use every ability.
For newer players,
he's the best.
For the highest survivability, he's the best.
Yes, him and what's the one that you like? Excalibur. Those are the two beginning Warframes.
But you need the mods. The Rhino is the best starting Warframe.
You think he's the best?
You can't start with him. You have to go to Venus.
Yeah.
But he's the best Warframe to run in the very beginning of the game.
You're probably right.
Because the Excalibur, in order to make him just where you mod him to where he becomes an S, you need the mods in the faction shop to make him good. For Rhino, just using Iron Skin and just surviving, he's the best.
True. Okay. Saren is next.
A lot of people use her.
Who I didn't use. I don't use Saren much.
I don't know how to use Saren. Other people do. She basically makes it to where other enemies are easy. When you combine her with a Nova, everything dies on the map immediately. I don't know how to use her. She has like acid procs that she puts on enemies.
Yes.
Molt, she can shed any debuffs that are on her and shift into a new skin. Toxic Lash I don't use very much. Miasma I think is her best. Pollutes the atmosphere with lethally poisonous mist that corrodes all enemies in range, which basically, combined with the Nova, just kills them immediately.
Yeah.
Spores inflicts targets with viral damage over time. Destroying the spores will immediately spread to other enemies. Okay, so it's like a viral thing. Based on what people have used her as and what I've seen, I'm putting her at an A.
Okay.
In front of the Necros.
Like I said, I don't have a lot to say about her. Don't use her a lot.
Now this next Warframe, Titania, I would say Titania, just for terms of like game.
Don't ask me where I'd put her, because I can tell you.
Everybody I've seen use her say she's really cool when you first get her, but after you use her for a while, it's kind of just like a novelty. You don't know what to do with her.
I put her to D. I probably wouldn't put her to D. I just don't like her abilities. I don't think they're very useful at all. I really don't. I don't think her abilities are very useful.
Her 4 ability, she can shrink down and do a lot of damage to other... But she's not really useful in a lot of things.
No.
Guess what? You and Auberon are going at a D.
God. God.
There's not much else to say, man. I don't know.
God.
I don't think anything is really an F anymore, but a D.
I mean, I would put her at a D, but that's... I didn't think you were going to.
Next Warframe. Trinity. Now, she's really good at Eidolons, helps enemies, helps people survive a lot.
Yeah.
Whether you mod her for health or energy, steal, she's one of the best support Warframes in the game. I feel like with the Equinox is a little bit better. But in terms of what she does...
The one thing she can do, though, that Equinox doesn't, is restore health and shields. That's one thing she can do.
Well of Life, create a well of life on an enemy, gain health when damaging the target. Energy vampire allies will gain energy over time, which is great.
Yes.
And any damage taken while Link is active will be channeled to nearby enemy, which is kind of like the Nidus.
Yes. And
then Blessing restores the health and shields of all allies while simultaneously providing a degree of damage immunity to the team. Again, really good in Eidolons, really good for just defense. I'd put her at an A.
I'd put her in an A, yeah. Just below, just in terms of, because she's just below the Equinox.
Now the last one, Valkyr. You gonna change? Thank you. Now the Valkyr, one of the best high damage Warframes in the game.
This Warframe was designed after me.
One of my, it's like, what's Warframe's daughter's name?
Who? Warframe's daughter.
Wolverine's daughter.
X-23?
X-20. She's like X-23.
You said Warframe's daughter and you like blew my mind with that statement.
If you want to compare it to anything like a comics or anything like that, she's like X-23 where she was experimented on and tortured.
Yes.
And then she came out with
yeah, she has a really cool backstory.
Yes. Ripline I don't use really hardly at all. Warcry is kind of like Excalibur's Howl.
Yeah.
Paralysis unleashes her shield, stunning and damaging enemies around her. The best ability for her to use, if you're just a new player, Hysteria.
Yeah.
You can cast, not really cast, you can, well, yeah, I guess you cast it. You cast it, this is her 4, and you just go in with her claws and just basically kill everything.
Yep.
It does pretty much as much damage, or more damage, than Excalibur's 4.
Yeah.
But because of her abilities, her overall, just all-around abilities, she doesn't have good all-around abilities. Her 4 is unbelievable high damage output. She has high survivability because of that, and you can mod her well for that. I want to put her at an A because she does such high damage, and she has good armor. But
in terms of only one ability being useful, though, I feel like that has to be a B.
It's like one of the highest Bs, just behind Ash. Now this last one, Valban. It's a defensive Warframe. Really cool, kind of like the Frost.
Yeah.
I think it's just below the Frost in terms of being able to use defense in a certain way. I think it's this Bastille. It's kind of like the Snow Globe, where you cast it. Now, the only difference in that, with the Frost can freeze enemies or slow them down.
Yeah.
This one levitates them and makes them completely vulnerable to attack.
Yeah.
People go between using this and the Frost, but I think the Frost Prime is a little bit better, just in terms of what it can do. The Vortex sucks enemies in, kind of like the Frost ability where he freezes them.
Yeah.
But the freeze does a little bit more damage, I think. The Mine Layer, I don't really see it really useful as much as terms of like Ice Wave, like the Ice Wave does. The Tesla launches a grenade out, and I think he can switch these. I can't remember. Oh no, the Mine Layer. The Mine Layer, cycle through 4, deploy, trap mines, bounce, trip laser, shred, and concuss. Kind of cool, but hard to use.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be kind of difficult.
Tesla launches an energy trap grenade. I would put him at an A in term. I would put him at an A. A low A. Good defense Warframe, just hard to use.
Got 3 more left.
Now the Volt is next. I was going to put Volt at a B, but because of how instrumental he is in taking down an Eidolon, I'd put him at an A. Because I know it's a specific mission.
But it's one of the harder missions in the game, so the fact that he's useful in that.
Shock is cool. When you want him to do a lot of damage, it's really good. Electric Shield is really good because it ups crit damage.
Yeah.
You put the shield down, people shoot through it ups your crit damage.
Yeah.
Speed allows everybody to go fast.
Which,
whatever.
It could be useful if you're trying to speed run
a rescue mission.
Yeah.
Discharge. Now this is really cool to freeze enemy. Good crowd control again. But the Electric Shield is his most useful ability when fighting with a team. Put it down on defense objective, people shoot through it in all different directions. I would put him at an A, just because I feel like he's more useful now with more missions.
He is, especially in terms of how useful he is for the Eidolon missions.
I think I know where I'm going to put these next two. People are going to...
Now the Wukong, love the way it looks, love the design.
It's just hard to use,
in terms of his abilities, he's definitely just he's like below average.
Yeah,
I would say.
I don't. Now other people disagree with this.
Really?
Yeah. Some people use his Primal Fury. I know he does a lot of damage.
I mean, he's decent.
He can float through the battlefield. Okay, whatever. So you get to float on a cloud and get shot at.
Well, no, you're like an actual cloud. They can't hit you.
Okay, I was getting ready. I thought that was a little ridiculous.
No, yeah, you're like an actual cloud.
Defy, escape death by receiving a boost of health when killed. Okay, that's cool. That's high survivability. Explode the Iron Staff to its true length, knocking out anything.
I'm telling you, I would put him at a C, and I used him.
You would put him at a C?
I would. And I used him, and I liked him, but he's just He's just an average Warframe. He's just an average Warframe to me.
See, some people are really good with him and they can survive with him. This is our list though, and this is how I put him. Okay.
That's where I put him. That's just me.
Now let's talk about the last Warframe, the Zephyr. This one is extremely hard to use for me. And I died so many times using her.
It is hard. It is hard. Because it's more of an air, type Warframe.
Her tornado is good, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. It is great for crowd control. Airburst doesn't really do anything.
But there's so many Warframes that do stuff so much better.
Yes.
Than Zephyr.
Creates a wind shield around Zephyr, redirecting all incoming projectiles. Tailwind from the ground, charge and release to launch Zephyr into the airborne hover. Whatever she can fly, cool. She can still get shot at.
She can only fly. She's, I'm just joking with you. I know what you're saying.
But Plains of Eidolon, maybe that would be cool.
While she can be fun to use, she's not the best Warframe. I'd put her at a C personally. I don't think she's a D. She's not awful.
No, because of her having a prime frame. I know we're not talking about primes right now, but I think she was reworked just a little bit.
I think C is the right spot.
Yes, behind Woo. I think she's like the last C.
Yeah. So that was our tier list.
So to go through it again, we have Titania last, Oberon next at the D. Then we have Zephyr bringing up the rear at C's. Then Wukong, Baruch, Atlas, Nyx, Hero, and then Ember at the top of the. Well, I would put Hero at the beginning of the C.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't, because I do feel like her fire is a little bit good. And I feel like people, I don't know. I put Hero at the front.
It doesn't really matter where you have them with their.
I would put Hero at the front. Revenant, we put the last as B, then Neja, Limbo, Hydroid, Mag. Let's put Kildrine last because we haven't used her.
True.
Garuda, Chroma, Gara, Mirage, Valkyr, and Ash at the top of the Bs.
Yeah.
And then bringing up the A's, I put Volt. That didn't even sound right. Valban, Necros, Trinity. We could read the A's. The A's and the B's, and got the Trinity, then the Siren, the Loki. Oh my gosh, what is the name of that music Warframe? Octavia, Korra, Banshee, Inoros. Then I put Mesa at the top.
Okay.
And then Rhino, Frost, Yavara, Nova, Excalibur, Nidus. Well, I put Nidus first, and I would put Equinox right behind that.
All right.
I think the Nidus is one of the best Warframe, maybe the best Warframe in the game, in terms of how it uses abilities combined, and everybody being able to fight with it. Anyway, guys, before the camera shuts off, this has been like a 2-hour long video.
Yes.
Tier list. I hope you like this stuff. We might do more tier lists on every Friday.
Yeah.
Won't be as long, definitely not.
No.
But make sure to like, subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
Our social media is going to be down in the description below. Leave us a comment letting us know where you would put these Warframes.
Yeah.
And how you play with them. And we'll see you in the next video.
Have a good day.